Just a few more drops and... Oh, for Meridia's sake, Mr. Whiskers. Must you always knock my potion bottles off the shelves? Well, either way, I think the formula is complete. Now to add a splash to the Calatrice Pulchra tea. There. This combination should allow me to focus my mana in such a way that I will become resistant to flames. Now there's only one thing left to do. I must test it. Ah, this taste is horrendous. How could such a lovely tea have been befouled so greatly by a mere splash of potion?
Oh, hey guys, it's me again, Natural Wizard. Welcome back to my channel. Now some of you may know this, some of you may not, but my upload schedule is on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So alas, that means this is the last video of the week. But I assure you there will be more. And so now on to today's content, which will be r/idontworkherelady, with a bit of an entitled parents theme. And so now, without further ado, let the stories begin. This first one has quite a doozy of a title. It's called, You Know What You're Talking About, So You Must Work Here. You're lying, so let my kid have your knives. I am a cook by trade, and have been working in the industry for nearly 10 years now. This happened roughly a year and a half ago, and I would often make grocery runs at the local Whole Foods, which is along my way home. I'm by default a helpful sort of guy. I'm often in my black chef's coat with the restaurant logo on the shoulders and name tag on my right breast, sometimes heavily soiled if work was busy, and carrying my knife roll bag on my shoulder, so if people are looking lost at the aisles and they see me, they often ask for advice. This is usually people asking about gluten-free products, antioxidant crap, and whatnot. I'm more than happy to help. I will note that the cooking staff here work in white coats rather than black. One day after a day of hard work, I'm at Whole Foods picking out flour for pancakes as the next day would be my day off. Cake flour for souffle pancakes if you're that interested. An older gentleman asks me of my opinion on spices, which are absurdly expensive in supermarkets, and I advise him to actually go to a wholesale store to get them cheaper and in bulk rather than buy tiny little bottles of overpriced spices. We go into a discussion about baking and which flours were best for certain items for several minutes, and he left a happy man. Insert the moment we have all been waiting for.
Hey mister, are you a chef?
I sure am.
What are you gonna make?
Big fluffy pancakes tomorrow.
What's that on your back?
Oh, that's my knife set. I carry it with me because they're very expensive and I don't want anyone to take them when I'm not working. Cue his mother, who had apparently been looking for him. She sees me and her eyes instantly light up.
Oh, excuse me. Can you help me?
Sure, what do you need?
Oh, I'm looking for activated almonds. Do you know where I can find them?
Laughing a little. Yeah, but you should know that activated almonds are literally just almonds sitting overnight in water. It doesn't have any special properties.
Really now? That sounds like a scam.
Oh, it really is.
Well then, do you know where I could find the pickles?
Should be by the canned section, and I point towards the aisle.
Well, can you show me?
Okay, sure. I grab my basket with flour, eggs, and whatnot. This honestly should have clued her in. She barrages me with questions about the various pickles on the shelves as I help her get the ones she needed for her sandwiches. While explaining what the different kinds of pickles there were and how to pickle at home, I set my knife bag against the shelf because my shoulder was aching. Now the kid at this point, bored as hell and not at all interested in the advice being vomited by yours truly, decides to grab my bag in an attempt to inspect it. Whoa, sorry kid, you can't touch that. I grab a hold of my bag. Kid looks shocked that I took it away from him and is making an angry face.
Oh, don't you worry about him. He's a careful boy, and he won't break anything.
That may well be true, ma'am, but I'm not risking a child cutting themselves on my knives.
Oh, now, don't be so selfish. You should be glad my son is taking an interest in your profession.
That's great and all, but you should teach your child not to grab strangers' things, especially if it's full of potentially dangerous tools.
Don't tell me how I should raise my child. Apologize now.
I'm not going to apologize for stopping your kid from grabbing my bag of knives.
I want to see him.
Oh, come on. Can't you let him see your knives?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but these are my personal tools, and taking them out in a public setting would be dangerous and unprofessional.
Oh, well then I'll just have to buy it off of you.
What?
Here you go. This should be enough.
Pulls out $50. Lady, the chef knife alone cost me well over $250. Never mind the bag itself is at least $50. You were lying! Whatever, I'm not going to argue with you. Good day, ma'am. At this point I'm done with her, but she isn't letting go. Literally. She grabs a hold of my knife bag and demands that I sell it to her. You don't deserve these. Hand them over or I'll call your manager. At this time I believed she was talking about my actual manager at the establishment I worked at. Go ahead, now let go. For those of you wondering what that was supposed to be incoherent screeching noises as he tried to tear the knife bag out of her claws and walk away. About 5 minutes later, I'm accosted again by the mom who had gotten herself a resigned-looking manager. Being sort of a regular at the Whole Foods, people know me by appearance, and the manager sees me and looks surprised. There he is! I want that man fired and arrested! What? Arrested for what? She tells the manager some bullcrap about me selling the knives to her before running off with a strangely vague amount of money. Lady, I said I'm not going to sell these knives to you, and I don't even work here. She looks at the manager.
He's right. He doesn't work here. He works at the restaurant.
Points at my shoulder.
What's
Alright, now those were supposed to be incoherent, confused noises.
Also, I've got someone to watch the security cameras.
In comes assistant manager.
Hey, I've looked over the tapes and you're lying. He was helping you before your kid grabbed his stuff. He warned him off and you offered him money, but he declined. Ma'am, are we going to have a problem here?
The entitled mom makes a noise reminiscent of a strangled cat and apologetically shuffles away. And that's that. I paid for my stuff, went home, and made the fluffiest, softest pancakes known to man the very next day. Then I got a text from my actual manager who was asking about a woman complaining about me specifically and writing bad reviews. Needless to say, that was the last we heard of the woman, for the next few weeks anyway. But that's a different story entirely. Sort of. What kind of mom is gonna just simply let her kid open a stranger's knife bag and just start doodling around with some knives in a grocery store? Well, he just wants to practice his stabbing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my mouth noise sound effects.
I only spent like a few hours practicing them. Pretty good though, right?
Okay, that's enough goofing around.
On to the next post.
Now, the title of this one isn't even really worth mentioning, so I'm just gonna jump into it. Some backstory. I've been working at Walmart for 6 years, and entitled dad comes into the shop at least twice every week, so we spot each other there all the time, but we have never actually spoken before this point. Yesterday, I was off work, so I went to Walmart to do some grocery shopping. Sure, it sucks to be there while I'm not working, but I get an employee discount. Anyway, as I shop, it's not uncommon for people who shop there regularly to recognize me as an associate. However, they usually leave me alone because I'm clearly not working, not wearing my vest or Walmart hat. This time though, entitled dad spotted me shopping. He was in front of the toy department with his daughter when he saw me shopping. It should be easy to see that I'm not working. As I said, no vest or hat with the Walmart spark. I was also pushing a cart of food and small household needs. Entitled dad made his way over to me and just stopped directly in front of my cart to keep me from moving forward.
I'm gonna need you to help me get it back down from this rack.
I'm sorry, but I'm actually not working right now. I'm sure there's another associate around here who can help you.
But you work here. You have to help. It's your job.
As I said, I'm not working right now. I'm just here to shop.
You shouldn't be here if you're not working. So you're here. Do your job.
Annoyed, I tried to turn my cart to get around him. Even though I wasn't on the clock, I didn't want to say anything that could get me in trouble because I was still inside my workplace.
I need to get a bike for my daughter. Are you seriously trying to walk off and not help us?
Listen, I'm not allowed to help you while I'm not on the clock.
Then just clock in and help me. It'll only take a few minutes.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I would need a manager to override. I can't just clock in whenever I want, but as I've said, there are other associates here who can help you. The daughter was getting upset that no one was getting a bike down for her, so the dad was getting frustrated, as was I. He glared at me and grabbed his daughter's hand.
I'm gonna speak to your manager. I can guarantee you that you won't have a job after this. You can't treat customers like this.
I'm a customer right now too, man, but okay. He stormed off with his daughter to find a manager. I finished my shopping. Today at work, my manager brought it up to me and said not to worry about it. Some customers just don't understand the fact that employees aren't always working. We don't help you out of the kindness of our hearts. We help you because we're getting paid to do it. I'd love to find Entitled Dad's workplace and demand for him to help me on his day off. Honestly though, who in their right mind is going to stop someone in their casual clothes with a shopping cart full of groceries because they recognize them as an employee and then demand that they clock in just so he can be helped? Alright, entitled people, I forgot. But yeah, I do hope some of you guys get the voice that I was trying to imitate in this post. If you watch the show Letterkenny at all, I'm sure you'll be able to guess. Anywho,
On to the next post.
it is simply titled, Crazy Entitled Mom. For some backstory, I am a hairstylist at a local chain salon in a mid-sized strip mall. Our work attire used to be all black, white, gray, long pants or skirt, and mid to long sleeved shirts or dresses. It was very business server kind of attire, except our hair could be almost anything we wanted. We were required to have it done up though, make up the whole shtick. So I didn't blame most people for thinking I worked at other stores when I'd be in too much of a hurry to change out of work clothes before going to other stores. And while I've had some serious ringers, this is just one. I worked an excessively long shift that day and it was busy. I didn't have time to go get lunch or take a break, so when the store finally closed and I was able to leave, I decided to go just across the street to a popular steak place, just to grab a bite to eat fast before going home. Now keeping in mind, I am blind in my right eye, deaf in my right ear, and mostly deaf in the left ear. I wear thick glasses for the eye that does work, and a hearing aid, which I usually part my hair so people can see. I was wearing the typical black slacks, black t-shirt, and my stylist apron that clearly stated the name of the salon on it. I walk in, am greeted by the waitstaff, and since it's the middle of their dinner rush, tell me it will be a few minutes and then they will have me seated. So I step off to the side and stand in their eating area. In comes crazy entitled mother and her son. She walks in, spots me as the only person she seemed to think could possibly be available, and walks right up to me. Her college-age son in tow just stands there waiting for me to speak to her. She waits maybe 1 minute, then coughs loudly, and stares angrily at me. I wasn't paying her any mind because I was tired, and didn't even hear her in the first place. She then grabs my arm and yanks on it.
Excuse me, are you going to help me or what?
Ma'am, I don't work. She cuts me off right there and proceeds to say,
I don't care if you're on break. Just help us get a seat. My son is hungry.
I stare at her for another minute, just kind of startled from her attitude. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm not on break. I don't work here. I didn't feel like listening to any response, and walk over to the desk and ring the little bell they have for when a hostess isn't right by the front. The crazy mom walks up right behind me and pushes my shoulder to get my attention, yammering on about how rude I was and how this was unbelievable. Unfortunately, since the place was busy, it took a moment for a server to come by, so the crazy mom keeps on getting louder and madder, saying she's gonna have my job for this, and that she can't believe how rude I am. I shouldn't be in the service industry. After a few choice words are said, I got really annoyed at her, and just decided to take my hearing aid out. Not that it actually stopped me from hearing her. It was meant more as a gesture. The son stares in disbelief and with clear apology on his face. The crazy mom doesn't let up though. Ignoring this entirely, a server makes their way by and apologizes almost immediately, presumably out of habit, and asks me what's going on. I put my hearing aid back in, but before I can say anything, she starts in at the server, demanding a manager and saying she will have my job. The confused server looks at me and then back to her, realizes the situation and sniffles a laugh, then says, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here. If you'll wait a minute, we'll have a seat for you." She then runs off to find a manager to defuse the situation. Another server comes by to inform me that my table is ready, and when I follow him, the mom and her son follow us and try to sit down at the table he shows me. I stare at her a moment baffled, and then look at the server who at first hadn't thought anything of these people following me. I tell him they are not with me, and she loses her marbles, starts yelling about how a server isn't going to be seated before a customer. He looks at her and at me very confused. The manager arrives and asks the lady what's wrong, and having been slightly briefed by the hostess, knew her mistake was thinking I worked there. He informed her that this table is mine and that I don't work here. She starts screaming at him, retelling her crazy version of the incident, and how, on break or not, she deserves the seat more than I did. I just decided to walk over to the bar, not far from the table, and sat in one of the seats there. The manager tells her she has to leave, or he would be calling security. She huffs and whines, but then gets up and leaves with her son. It was really ridiculous. Okay, now if that happened to me, some crazy lady comes up and yanks on my arm, it would have been one of those dramatic, "Oh, my shoulder! I've fallen and I can't get up."
Ho, if you catch my drift. You know what I'm saying?
But seriously though, if some lady were pulling on my arm and shoving me around like that, I'd have no choice but to challenge her to a breakdance fight. The old Hansel from Zoolander style. Alrighty, hopefully this has been entertaining for you. I wish nothing more than to be a good source of enjoyment. And if you're looking for something to please your listening ears, I do have a video of an original short story that is theatrically narrated by me and my sister. I will of course link that to the end screen. I hope you decide to check it out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and spending some time with me. And as always,
don't forget your tea before you go.